Welcome to EnergizeUtv. This is a space for conscious conversation, grounded leadership, and embodied truth. I'm Angel Marie. Each episode delivers fresh perspectives, expert insight, and actionable strategies to help viewers elevate their energy, expand their potential, and live with greater purpose and vitality. This is not just a TV episode, it is a movement to awaken the world, raise collective consciousness, and inspire positive change. Welcome back to Energize You TV, where energy meets modern life. I'm Angel Marie, Activation Catalyst. Have you ever noticed that the moment you begin doubting your decisions is often the moment motivation shifts from internal to external? You know that every time I step into the Wrigley Mansion, I am reminded that space holds memory. Jamie's Wine Bar was once the mansion's private library, a place for study, reflection, and decision making. And within these walls are 11 crafted fireplaces, each uniquely crafted, not for decoration, yet for presence, warmth, and gathering. That is the lesson this space leaves with us. Confidence is born from clarity. When perception is clear, decisions become grounded. And when decisions are grounded, impact follows with ease. I love ease. So, thank you to Prosperity Media Network for producing and distributing Energize You TV and for helping these insights reach audiences across the globe. Our guest today is Melissa Hardin, a guide to leaders who understand that real success begins within. She works with entrepreneurs and large organizations through retreats, coaching, energy therapies, and advanced training in neurotherapy and quantum physics. I have known Melissa for over 2 decades, and I can say with certainty her presence integrating and mastering change rooms and lives. This week, we step into Ignite Your Confidence, clear decisions for high impact leaders. But you know what? Before we go any further in these insights, I want to ground us in something that's very essential. And energy is the foundation of everything we are about to explore. Now, Einstein said, and I quote, energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be changed from one form to the other. I want you to think about that. Because once you have energy, and that's the hardest thing going right now, isn't it? Is everybody's talking about energy, and everything is energy, and energy is always moving. Energy is what it is connected. Even when we can see it or we can't see it, you can feel energy before you even think about it. You walk into a room and you feel the heaviness. You spend time with somebody that's kind of shattered or that's kind of overwhelmed, and all of a sudden you leave and you feel like you've been drained. That's energy. And that is energy in motion. And this is your biofield. Now, your biofield is what's around you, it's all the way around you. And it's the personal energy bubble, I call it. And I talk a lot about the field, the biofield, electromagnetic field, the quantum field. And you might be thinking, what is the field? It's the invisible energy that's all the way around you. It's electric. And this is because your body is electric. And it's the brain, and the nervous system. And that is what's putting that vibrational field out into the space around you. But did you know that the heart extends beyond the body? It is 5,000 times stronger than the brain. Ooh. So you're emitting energy, the emotions first. And that is coming from your heart. I really want you to get this because what you think about, you bring about. But when you're in your head, you're dead. But when you're in your heart, it's a 5,000 greater than the brain. So when you think about something, you're already emotionally connected through the heart. Ooh. And understanding that is that when you are taking that time to bring in the energies of what you really want in your life. So here it is. This is one of my things I give all my students, I give everyone, my clients. I even talk about it when I'm doing my training on energy. And that is, I want you to say with me, everything is easy. So no matter what it is, everything is easy. So say it with me. Everything is easy. My life is easy. I'm going to go do the laundry and it's easy. I'm going to go and do this presentation in this big project and it's easy. Do you see what's happening about the energy of easy? Thanks for playing with me. So let's talk today about motivation energy, because motivation energy is different than inspiration energy. So let's talk about that. And motivation is the spark. So we're going to take it out of the Shine On book. And I'm going to tell you about the quote. And the quote reads, motivation is the spark that pushes you to change your life. Just let that sit for a moment with you. Is it landing with you? Motivation is one of those words everyone thinks that they understand. Yet very few people actually stop to examine where it really comes from. You know, a lot of people think and believe that motivations come from the outside. And it's like, well, yeah, if I don't have enough clothes, well, that's kind of motivation from the outside. I need to do laundry. But yet, when things happen, like you have a deadline, you have the pressure, or from expectations from others, from someone telling you you should do it, who you should be, or how much potential you have. And sometimes what kind of motivation works, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it works for a little while. Yet, if you are a high performer leader, an entrepreneur, a CEO, even if you're mama bear or papa bear, it doesn't matter where you're at, you already know this. External motivation does not last. It might get you started, it might get you moving, yet it won't what? It will not sustain you when things get hard. And it will not carry you through the moments when no one else is watching. Think about that one. Sometimes, right? Does that match your experience? It might. Have you ever noticed how pressure can move you forward? Until what? Suddenly it just doesn't. In the Shine On book, I talk about motivation as something very different. I talk about motivation as an internal force, something that raises from within you, something deeply personal, something that once activated changes how you move through challenges entirely. You may have heard this before, or this may be the first time you have ever really heard this in this way. Either way, just notice what comes up as you listen to it. I learned this lesson very early in my life. Within the first 2 weeks of my junior year at the University of Oklahoma, I was failing every class. 2 weeks in, right? And I just want to tell you, I was on a full ride scholarship for athletics. So everything about my future, my education, about being an athlete, my sense of identity, right, was all wrapped up in this opportunity. And suddenly it was all at risk. Because before I go any further, let me ask you something though. Have you ever had a moment where everything you worked for felt like it could just disappear? A moment where effort alone was no longer enough. The coaches brought me in. I have to laugh at it because I remember it very vividly. The coaches brought me in for a conversation about my grades. And this wasn't casual. It wasn't gently, let me tell you. This was a real conversation. I was told that if things did not change, I could be kicked off the team and lose my scholarship. And until that moment, I had never told anyone about the learning disability. Not that I own it, but yet it is part of me. I have dyslexia. I'm sure you've known people that have that. There's many different forms of it. And I spent years and years of hiding it, how to concide, to make sure that nobody knew about it, how to work around it, how to appear capable without revealing how hard certain things were for me. Isn't it interesting how long we can carry something quietly? Think about that in your life. And how many of you have been leading while carrying something unseen? Sitting in that room, faced with losing everything I had worked for, something shifted. I spoke up. I told him. But yet, this is what happened to it. Totally like, whoosh, was instead of the judgment, something happened. Support showed up. The coaches connected me with a tutor, someone who was actually the head of the learning disabilities department. That's what they called it back then. Someone who understand exactly what I was dealing with. And you know what? That moment did not magically fix everything. It didn't make school easier overnight. It did remove the challenge. Yet it yet it changed the direction of my motivation. Ooh. Nothing outside of me changed right away. What changed was the way that I stayed there, the way that I wanted to show up. I really wanted to play my athletics. I really wanted to succeed in school. Not because someone told me I had to, not because I was afraid of losing the approval, because I wanted it, because I get to have it. And that's a big thing is look at your life and how much do you want something or you are pushing toward it when maybe step back and say, I get to have that and get that excitement. And I I began spending hours every week with that tutor, sometimes like 10 hours a week, sometimes overnight. I mean, every other night. And she would sit with me in that room again and again in that dorm room and jump all over the room so I could understand. I remember it was one of those was zoology. That was tough. You know, just to break everything down. It was very humbling. It was exhausting. It was not glamorous, that's for sure. You've heard about this. I mean, does that sound familiar to you? Not the details, yet the commitment, the decision to stay when it would have been easier for me just to walk away. Something important was happening underneath all of that effort. My motivation was no longer external. It was no longer about fear, pressure, or proving myself. It was an internal. I was choosing to stay with it. I was choosing to keep going. I was choosing to do the work. I know you know this feeling. Even when it was really uncomfortable, that's what internal motivation feels like. When motivation comes from the outside, it sounds like pressure. When motivation comes from the within, it feels like that resolve. And here's the difference. External motivation says you should do this. Internal motivation it says this matters to me. Ooh. Just notice that. Internal motivation belongs to you. No one else can manufacture it for you, and no one else can take it from you. When you have that kind of motivation, something shifts in how you face challenges. You stop asking, how do I get through this? And you start asking, how do I stay with this? Have you ever asked yourself that lately? Now, how to push harder, not how to push harder, yet how to stay in alignment with it. That question changes everything. And I have to remember this too, because for me personally, that's how it was. I never thought about it. I just went with every day and what was going on. And eventually I earned a Bachelor of Arts in recreation. Not because it was easy, whew, not because the system suddenly worked perfectly for me. No, it wasn't like that. Yet because I stayed connected to something inside myself that said, this is worth it. I'm worth it. That voice was not loud. It wasn't dynamic nor dramatic. It was steady. I never thought about that I couldn't do it. I always knew that I was doing it and I stayed in that. And that steady motivation is far more powerful than bursts of excitement, isn't it? And many of you, high performing leaders, entrepreneurs, those ones that are hearing this right now, believe that lack of motivation when they feel stuck. And that's not it. If you're feeling stuck and overwhelmed, that's not. Yet more often than not, they are not unmotivated. They are not disconnected. Disconnected from why they started. Disconnected from what matters to them personally. Disconnected from the joy of the outcome. Take a moment. Is this resonating with you? This external motivation can push you into action. Yet internal motivation is what helps and keeps you aligned when things become complex. And let me tell you, it's going to come complex because you leaders are complex. You're running businesses. You're carrying responsibility of many people, and they're complex. Making decisions that affect other people is complex. You cannot rely on pressure alone to carry you through that. It's the internal motivation can be learned. Absolutely. It can be practiced. It can be strengthened. It begins when you stop outsourcing your drive to this circumstances, to approval, or fear to start reconnecting to what generally matters to you. When you focus on the joy of the end results, not the weight of the process, motivation stops feeling what? Heavy, forced. It becomes personal, and I want it to be. This is the thing I let each and every one of you, I love you so much, is because I want it to be personal to you. It becomes sustainable when it does that. And when motivation is sustainable, confidence flows, and you'll see how everything opens up. And it's not that loud kind of confidence. No, no, no. It's the grounded kind when you feel that kind that allows you to make clear decisions, even when the path forward is not perfectly defined. This is why motivation is not about hype. No. It's not about the fired up all the time. And some of you feel that because everything around is like, shine on, shine out. It's not like that. It's about alignment, energy of that alignment, the nervous system. And when your actions align with what you care about, you do not have to push yourself as hard. You move forward because you want to, and you get to. Remember that get to, I love that. And that kind of movement is powerful. So if you're listening right now and you feel off kilter or disconnected or like you are forcing yourself forward, I want you to take a breath with me right now. Just take a breath. Here you go. Just relax for a second because you don't need to answer this out loud. Where has your motivation been coming from lately? Where do you want it to come from instead? Because when motivation comes from within, it does not burn out. It builds. That is the spark. And that is how change actually lasts. Now, when we return, you will hear from Melissa Hardin, a leader who understands what high achieving people need for moving forward with life that actually works. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
If you're listening to the Energize UTV, you already know the power of connection. Now imagine sharing your contact info instantly, no typing, no paper, no friction. Our digital business cards let you share your name, phone, social links, and website with one simple scan. Perfect for professionals who want to automate building their network. Ready to upgrade how you connect? Scan the QR code on the screen and get your digital business card built by JavaLogix today.
Thank you so much, Preston Mardelli. Reach out to him, get that digital business card, tell him Angel sent you and get the Angel discount. Thank you again. And before we continue, I love sharing the feeling of the energy of this place. Wrigley Mansion is not just a location, it is a living expression of vision, care, and legacy. Enjoy. We're here in the Pasadena room, and I wanted to show there's 11 fireplaces throughout the 16,000 square foot. And this is the original tile that came all the way from Catalina. Now, Mr. Wrigley owned pretty much most of Catalina Island, and he had a tile company there. And he brought in all the tile that you'll see in all the fireplaces around the manor. And they were brought up by a horse and buggy to bring them up the last 10 miles to the Wrigley Hill. And it is spectacular, every single one of these fireplaces. Wasn't that awesome? I learned a little bit about the Wrigley Mansion and coming up to the Wrigley Hill here. And I want to say thank you to you. I see you and I celebrate you and who you are. Thank you for being here. Welcome, Melissa Hardin. So excited that you're here. I've known you for decades, and I would really love if you would just introduce yourself. Who are you?
It's a good question. I ask myself that every single day. But I'm adventurous. I have a thirst for knowledge. I travel a lot. I'm currently doing van life, and I love that.
Wait, we have to just van life?
Yeah.
VAN. So you have a van.
Yes.
I've been in it. It's really cool.
Thank you. Thank you. I do love it a lot. It allows me to be able to move around across the United States if I need to, for as long as I need to. Things pop up and opportunities, and I want to be able to embrace the opportunities as much as I can as I go along and try to make more connections and really connect with the world and make a difference as much as I can.
Oh, and you are. You totally are in all these years.
Thank you. Yeah. I really have worked towards freeing myself up to embody and apply myself as best I can.
So do you remember when we first met?
Yes. Yes. Your Like Workers gift shop. That was like one of the, I would think the only crystal healer shop in the valley. And so when you opened up, I was just like, I have to be there. So yes, so grateful to be part of that and have that opportunity with you as well as this opportunity. This is quite amazing. Thank you.
You're so welcome. So well deserved. And how did you feel coming up to the Wrigley Hill?
Oh, wow. I mean, I knew the views were amazing, but this is really quite the peaceful place. I mean, the energy here is great and historical and just a great opportunity. Thank you.
You're so welcome. So let's just dive in, because ignite your confidence, clear decisions for high impact leaders. And you work with these leaders. And you have been working with leaders, and you work with mama bears and papa bears and entrepreneurs, but yet this is important because there's so much neuroscience is coming out with, and even out of Yale, they have found so much stress that stress raises that brain and it shifts out of that clear thinking, and we become into this survival mode. And instead of that thoughtful decisions, we start reacting. So how would you talk to somebody about that?
Yeah, that is so true. Fight, flight, and freeze. It creates a heightened cortisol within the body. And then inspiration and being able to connect with somebody, heart to heart, to really step forward in the way you really feel or want to convey. All of that gets bypassed. Yeah, it's really hard to kind of move forward through that.
And we see that a lot with these entrepreneurs, also with the CEOs, because they feel the pressure, and that pressure creates motion, but yet that clarity creates the direction. So what would you say to leaders? Because I know you've guided leaders through this in your retreats, your masterminds, the coaching, and your healing. And I would love for you to share an example with us about what happened with someone that moves from that pressure to that state back into that clarity.
Yeah, I have a client that I really worked, closely with this is specific example. And she was just so overwhelmed that she didn't know how to move forward. And we took the time to tap in and really connect with her own intuition. She was able to think of the people who could help her quite easily and effortlessly. And she intuitively knew how to move forward step by step. Just by taking a moment and asking deliberate questions on how you want to move forward, the answers are within.
I think one of the biggest things you just said is when you identify what's happening and you look at the and you actually write it down, take a moment, you see who can help.
Yeah.
And I think so many, I don't think, I really feel because I've seen it. They we don't ask for help. And to really look at because I like in my team alone, I look at my team and say, who's really good at this? And who can really help me? And not putting it on somebody that maybe is not as good and like misaligned in that and helping and trying to get them to do this. So what would you say to leaders?
It's real important that you acknowledge that everybody can't do it all by themselves all the time. And for us to expect ourselves to do so is really handicapping us, in huge ways. So being confident somewhat and being able to communicate how we need help step by step by step, you'd be surprised at how many people will step forward and just, be willing to help you in many different ways. It's really amazing.
It is because they want to help you. At least that's what I find because people will say, Angel, can I help you? Oh, yeah. I mean, they didn't even, yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Because I know too that the misalignment is expensive for these corporations, for even an entrepreneur, because it shows up as a lot of time as hesitation, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Or overthinking. And then it turns into burnout.
Yeah. How many people are burned out? Just about everybody, right?
That's it's a big thing right now is the burnout and what's going on in the corporations and what's happening. And for these leaders to take a look at how do we do this? How do we create that motivation? And that's something that I just talked about and teaching about that motivation is not just an internal thing and or an external thing. It's both of them.
It is. And being in tune with what you really need and want really helps with your inspiration. Being in tune
Mm.
with your goals and how you want to proceed. Not everybody wants to proceed. Go, 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 go. A lot of people want to slow down, take a breath, really get in tune with, how they want to proceed forward. This helps them help that flow and ease and grace into their lives.
I love that, the ease and grace. I say that a lot. With grace, ease, and glory. I say that a lot, and you do too. I know you do. And I love that because that is helps with the motivation. And everything is when we look at things as being easy and we have that easy energy, it creates ease.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of leaders even think about the energy that they're putting themselves at.
Mm, yeah, right. Yes. And really, I find that when we bring our values into our jobs in different ways, it creates this motivation around what we're accomplishing too, because we apply it to what we're really passionate about. And that makes a huge difference.
And think you also just said something that's so needed, the value. I don't care who you are, you want to feel valued.
Mm,
to know what my results, where I want to go, the results of it, but to have my team going the same way. And when you have hundreds of employees, like some of these leaders do they really have the pulse, I guess, of the environment?
Yeah, I feel like not that many big businesses really bring in conveying that they want their team to feel valued and that their opinions matter and that finding solutions together creates value for everybody. And so, wouldn't that be amazing?
It's so true. And that's why, we name this clear decisions for high impact leaders because it's not just igniting the confidence, it's having the clarity, but yet also being able to look at your organization and be able to have the pulse of it.
Yeah, connection,
Connection.
presence, holding space for not only for yourself, but with everybody that you work with.
Yet a lot of people aren't going to get this holding space. So explain, what does that mean?
So, just like I'm here with you, creating eye contact and really listening to everything that you're saying and digesting it before I respond. Thinking of, how can I portray my response in a way that is authentic to me and honors what you are trying to seek with your communication with me?
It's taking the moments.
Yeah.
It's being in that time, in that space. And I really like this one. In 2011, a researcher study, they found that the more decisions we make during the day, the more the brain gets depleted. I mean, I mean, we kind of know this, but to actually have a study now is so that when this happens, you start to second guess or you delay choices. And it also comes up at lack of confidence, and it often is it's a mental overload. And in your experience, have you seen this show up for leaders or any of your clients?
So many. We think we can think our way out of the problem. But the truth is, there's more neurological connections in our heart than in our brain. And I've been learning with my clientele if we use our heart as our brain to try and solve our problems, then we use our brain as a projection device. We visualize what we want to accomplish in the world. And that way, we don't get overburdened by all the decisions that we make because all of our answers are truly in our heart.
Which is really the heart. And we already talked about that earlier. It's 5,000 times greater than the brain.
Yes, so much.
So it is emotional.
Mm.
That's what it's at. Because we have to come here and we have to think about it, whatever that is. But then it comes to the heart, and then that's when it comes out.
And that's where motivation comes in. Because when we can connect with the emotion and honor that as you bring it out with your path on whatever it is that you're creating, that creates huge motivation.
So now let's back it up because many of these leaders, entrepreneurs, they look at their bank account or they look at what's going on, they look at their bottom lines, and they're going, ugh, and their heart is dropping. They're scared. How do you switch that?
It's interesting. I've actually had a lot of experience with trying to push kind of the way that big business does things, time wise. It's very masculine in a sense, where the feminine is more cyclical and it goes with the flow, it goes with ease and grace. And so, if we're able to tune into more of that cyclical type of flow, the inspiration comes, the motivation comes, the presence comes, and we really can, move forward more with the ease and grace.
And it's really about the aligned leaders, all of them. Mama Bear's because I always going to say that because I don't want to leave anyone out really, and it makes clear decisions. They don't get rushed. So How do they recognize this and that they're operating on overload, or sometimes it's just uncertainty. They're just uncertain about what they're doing.
Yeah, that's interesting indeed. When we move forward really quickly without really tuning in, it does create that uncertainty.
Mm.
And a lot of times we don't even realize it's happening until too late when we're, way stressed. And then we take it out on everybody else
Mhm.
around us.
And sometimes those are like the aha moments. And I
Yes.
like those because those aha moments tend to appear when the brain has space. And then it
Yes.
goes, oh, wait a minute. And I think in your experience also, you've created kind of a space for that clarity to emerge. And that's not only energetically what you do, but it also is physically how you do that.
Yeah, that's part of my purpose. Yeah, with my clients, I really dig deep on how can they bring their own authenticity forward? How can they tune in to their own innate wisdom in the best way for them? It's not about me, it's not my way. It's learning how they can bring that forward.
Beautiful. Because this clarity doesn't eliminate complexity, because there's a lot of complexity in people's businesses, and I get that, but it organizes it.
Oh yeah. Don't we all need organization? Holy cow.
I mean, from our cars to our wallets to, and because I went off the other one of the shows on the wallet and some people's wallets and how messy they are, and they have all the, how can you clear, but yeah, I understand it, but it's from your house to everything around you when you're not organized. So being in that organization helps you to shift and to change, and people notice and they can feel different. It's like when they come over and they're coming over to my office, if it's all just, they're going to feel that way.
Yeah, that chaotic energy. Yeah. There's so much to distract us in the world now that people get confused and they come with that chaotic, thought process. But if you are able to bring in your values and step forward through your values, you can easily see the things that will just distract you and the things that you want to focus on. And that has great value for me.
And for people in general. Yes. Research shows that when motivation comes from within, the brain increases focus and persistence. That makes total sense. But when it comes from outside pressures, that performance seems to drop. So, how do you help leaders to reconnect to that inner drive?
Yeah, that's so important. Nobody wants to be forced to do anything.
Mm.
So, really tuning in to how that person, what their goals are, and how they want to move forward, and how do they communicate with their employers or with their companies on how to do that mutually beneficially.
And that's the big thing, is it has to be internal. And we're seeing this with the different generations. Haven't you noticed this?
Yes.
Because certain generations, if it's not a value to them, if they're not getting something from it, they don't want to be there. And it's so black and white with some of the different, I'm just going to say, generations.
Yeah.
Because in my generation, it was a job and you just were there. That's not how it is anymore.
No, we're waking up as a as a collective and a society that what we want really matters and how we can perform and move forward in life. We want to surround that around our values and what we're passionate about. So why not let everybody?
I hear you. That, the action feels steady when that happens instead of forced. And that's what I have seen. And also, I love this one because the research from the Heart Math Institute shows that when the nervous system is calm, communication between the heart and the brain become more synchronistic. Since when I'm trying to say that word, I know it's that big long word, synchronistic. Anyway, so I just make fun. So when that happens, people think about things clearer and steadier. And that's what we want when they, and even the Heart Brain Math Institute is saying this.
Yeah, when we're really passionate about something, it lights us up inside neuralistically. I mean, everything is creates more motivation around the more neurons that are firing within us, and they really help us move forward with passion and ease and grace.
Yes. The passion is the thing. And it's not just the motivation, it's they're inspired because they want to do it. And that's what the powerful leaders that I have seen are not driven by urgency, but so many are. But yet, that's what I've seen. They are guided by their clarity and where they're going. And they're able to get everyone on board with them.
Wouldn't you be able to trust a leader that does that more easily?
Mhm.
I
And
know I
shows up.
would.
And that shows up in that place.
Yes.
And that's really what this whole thing about moving into what the energy and how energy shows up. That's what I see more that's happening in the world right now. Because, I mean, working with these leaders in the internal alignment, it really does translate into the confidence and into the real situations. They have to have the confidence, but more of the clarity of where they're going and be able to be in alignment with it,
Yeah,
with their whole mission, purpose,
absolutely.
and the whole environment.
That sense of presence and really wanting to connect with somebody. And it really helps big businesses and entrepreneurs. You can really see the genuine, energy that comes forward with that. And I know, especially nowadays, with, people being on the phone and AI and all of that, people are going to be wanting more, one on one presence with people. That's what's really going to be worth a lot of money.
And you're saying presence, but it's also the clearest leaders are not the loudest.
Right.
They are the most aligned.
Yes.
And we're not talking about just spiritually. That's a personal thing. I understand that. But that alignment comes from them seeing where they're going, but bringing in the helpers.
Yeah. That's what it's all about, bringing in the helpers. Yeah, the more we have with that collective inspiration and motivation, the more we can change the world.
And I really believe too that the more fun we have, now these are writer downers, right? Because the more fun we have in an organization, entrepreneur, whoever you are, even in the family, when you bring in laughter, when you bring in smiles, when you bring in the basic, what happens? Everybody goes,
Mhm. Those emotions, gratitude, joy, happiness, ecstatic nature, they are powerful. They can transform a whole room or even more. And it's an amazing thing to see happen.
to have a leader come in and be in that space, that's being vulnerable.
Yes, very much.
So are they being their authentic self? That's up to them, but have they ever looked at it?
Yeah.
Is that something that you help people do also?
Yeah, so many people don't even know who their authentic self is. So, working with my clients, that's some really deep questions that I get down to and I ask them. And I really have them try and figure that out on, how they want to move forward and what their values are to be able to focus on those specific things.
And it's not just the bottom line, how much money I want to make in Q1, Q2, whatever that is. It isn't. And yes, that's part of it, obviously. But yet, it's what is the pulse and what is the energy in their environment?
Yeah, that's very important because if they're not supported energetically, emotionally, even physically in their environment, then their performance is not going to be as good.
And that's the biggest key, the performance, because we want everyone's performance to feel good for them and get inspired for them and have motivation. But yet, as a collective, moving together as team. And it's so right now, the collaboration, and how we're all moving together, and we get that we can't do this alone.
Yeah, it's so true. And, I wouldn't want to either. That's why I'm so grateful for our friendship.
Thank you. And it's just been so wonderful to have you here today.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Yes, it's been wonderful.
Yes. This has been so great and lots of great golden nuggets. And I thank you so much, Melissa, for being here today. And what is your free gift? Because we love giving free gifts away.
I have a free worksheet for everybody. I'm super excited about it. And it will help you kind of tune in step by step on how to listen to your own innate wisdom.
Oh, I love that. I have to get that too. So, oh my gosh. So here is Melissa's contact information. Reach out to her because she has many beautiful gifts and this offer. And please don't leave without getting her free gift, and just scan that QR code and you'll receive it. And as we're wrapping up, do you have any final words that you would like to leave for everyone?
Yeah, just to take that time to really honor the way you're feeling in each moment. Even that will bring clarity on what you really want and how you want to move forward.
Blessed to have you here. Thank you so much,
So
Melissa.
much.
Mhm. And if you would like to experience more of me beyond today's show, I would love to gift you with a membership of the Energy Reset Sessions. These are gentle Tai Chi moves, and it helps to create the tone for the day. It clears, it calms. It also helps to ground. So go ahead and scan this QR code here and join me online every Monday and Wednesday. I can't wait to see you there. And if you would like to even go deeper, these books hold the foundation of my teaching you have just experienced here on Energize You TV, and they are available for you as well. Before you go, take a moment and ask yourself one simple question. What am I taking with me from this conversation? I'm Angel Marie, and this is Energize You TV, where we help you live with greater purpose and vitality.